Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. How are you? Welcome to another IELTS Journey with Fabi. Okay, where we talk about everything and anything IELTS, everything and anything to help you get the score you need in the test only once. Okay, only once. No one should be doing the IELTS test more than once. Okay. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Fabi. I'm an English teacher and I help people get the score they need on the IELTS test and do the test only once. Okay. So today we will be talking about speaking. Who's interested in the speaking part of the IELTS test? Hands up. All right. So we're going to be talking about speaking, but not just speaking. We're going to be talking about feeling nervous for the speaking test. Okay. And I'm going to tell you a few things you can do to stop being nervous for the IELTS test, the speaking part of the IELTS test. Okay. So you can tell me where you're watching this from. I love to know where you guys are in the world. Okay. Number one. Number two, if you have questions, you can pop the questions in. If you're watching me on YouTube or Instagram, you can pop the questions in here. I might not get to your question straight away, but I usually go over the questions later. All right. So let's get started. Okay. Speaking part. Okay. It's funny that lots of people feel that the speaking part is really tricky and people feel nervous, okay, with the speaking part because it's actually the shortest part of the IELTS test. All right. So if you are one of these people, you can let me know in the comments. Me, I feel nervous. And maybe if you know why, start thinking about why and you can share that with me too. And I will be able to help you. Okay. So lots of people, they feel nervous. Okay. When they are going to do the speaking part of the IELTS test. And again, guys, the speaking part will last anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. It's so short. It's so fast. And some people say, oh, it's so fast. That's why I'm so worried about it. Okay. Don't be. Don't be. Okay. We're going to talk about this today. All right. Okay. Yeah. But it's funny because lots of people say, oh, I understand everything, but I can't reply. In my head, I know what to say, but when I want to say it, it doesn't come out right. Okay. So we're going to talk about that. Okay. So there are lots of reasons why you might feel worried. Okay. And I totally understand. Okay. And you're not the only one. That's why I'm here today talking to you guys about that, because you're probably not the only person who feels that way. Okay. If you're worried about your speaking, if you feel a little bit nervous, anxious, okay, if you feel like that when you speak to people, let alone during the speaking test, okay, but we're gonna discuss that today. Do not worry. Okay, so some people, they might do well when they're talking to people out on the street, friends, at work, in English, of course, talking in English. But then when you go to the test, they get really nervous and they make mistakes. Okay. If you are one of these people, you can write in the comments, me. All right. But this usually happens because when you are doing the speaking test, what is happening? You are being judged. Yeah. So there is someone there, literally, right? Literally. All right. Listening to you and taking notes. Oh my God. I always tell my students, if you're doing a speaking practice, right? And I start taking notes, people get worried because they think it's mistakes. Now, when I'm giving feedback to my students, I also uh I also go and I give them good feedback. All right? I give them very good feedback. Okay? Goody goody. That's one thing. All right, so one question here. All right. Okay. So, can you send me that message? Uh, in the message that's a support problem. Okay. Can you please just send me the message either on WhatsApp, okay, or on here? Is that all right? And I'll be able to help you. All right. Goody goody. Okay, cool. Yeah. Some technical issues in the course, but don't worry, I'll help you with that. Cool. All right. So moving on, okay. So yeah, guys. So if I'm doing feedback with my students, one thing that I do is I always take note of the good stuff and the bad stuff. But every time I start writing, okay, people get worried. But it could be good stuff too. Okay. But just the fact that you're being judged might be the problem. Okay, so just think about that. Is that one problem that you have? Okay, is that a problem that you have when you are speaking, especially speaking for the IELTS test? Okay, another thing is maybe you're worried about your accent. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's funny because this week we've been talking a lot about accent. I don't know, people are asking me questions about accent. We've been discussing accent. Last Saturday, I went to a workshop for IELTS teachers. Okay. And then everyone was talking about accent and the speaking part. And again, guys, I don't think that you should have one accent like, oh, my accent has to be American, my accent has to be British. No, no, no. Okay. I think you should focus on being clear, be understood. Okay. So if you are worried about that, okay, oh, I have to have the British accent so I can get a high score on the IELTS test. Not really. The examiner needs to understand you. That's all. Nothing else. Okay, guys. Just understand you. Okay, that's all they have to do. All you have to do. Just you need to be understood. That's it. Nothing else. Okay, so if you're a little bit worried about your accent, just think about, am I being clear? That's all you have to worry about. All right, goody goody. Yeah. And then also, the context of the assessment, being, in the environment of a test, that can be problematic too. And that's why you're feeling nervous. Okay. But there are things you can do to improve that. And I'm going to talk about that today. Okay. But the most important thing we have to think about is, what is your fear? So maybe your fear is not exactly the speaking part, your fear is something else. I always ask my students, when my students are worried about something, I just go, but what is your fear? Oh, I'm scared of the test. Okay, but why? What are you worried about exactly? Okay, and then when you know it, you can work on it. When you know it, you can tell me and I can help you. But that's something that has to come from you. You have to reflect on it. Okay. And maybe sometimes that's why it's so important to get feedback. Another reason why it's so important to get feedback, because let's say that you have a problem and you come and tell me, oh, Fabi, I'm worried about the speaking part because my accent's terrible. And then I do a speaking test with you and I listen to you and I go, your problem is not your accent. That's not it. Maybe there's another problem and I can tell you and you didn't even notice. Okay. Or maybe you just say, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that. So you have to think about what your problem is, what you think it is. And then you go ahead and you start thinking about and reflecting on it. Okay. And that's why it's a good idea to have someone with you in your IELTS journey, a professional, of course, so you can check, okay, is it really my problem? And what can I do about it? All right. But I'm going to give you some tips today. Don't worry. I'm going to tell you a few things. Okay. So, for example, I had students, and they spoke English very well. And then when they went to do the test, they got very, very nervous. And then they got a lower score than I expected because I did a speaking test with them, but just because they got nervous. Okay. There's also the thing with the topic. Sometimes the topic can be a problem. All right. But I have a student. It was pretty cool, actually. His speaking is about a 6, maybe 6.5. We did a speaking test. He practiced for the test. He needed a 6 overall, nothing less than 5.5. And then he did the IELTS test and he got all the score he needed. But then for speaking, he got 7.5. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? 7.5? What's going on here? And he had done the test a few years before and he got a 6, which I think it's the score he deserved. And then 2 years later, he said, oh, I have to do the IELTS test again, because it expired. I have to apply for a different visa. I said, okay. And we started working together. And he got 7.5 in speaking. And I was like, what? And then he said, well, the topic was the internet for part 2. And then part 3 was also more questions about the internet. And I was like, yes. He's like, do you remember what I do for work? I use the internet all the time. I know how to talk about the internet. I was like, oh, yeah. And he said it was very natural. So I wasn't worried at all. When I saw that, I was like, oh, yeah. Okay, guys. So that's the thing also. So he was very lucky that he got a topic that was, something that he could talk about. So his score improved 1.5. But at the same time, he was ready to get the 6. He needed a 6. Actually, he got a 6, 6.5 every other part of the test. But the speaking was his best because he was in his environment, let's say, because the topic was very similar to what he's used to. All right. So that's a success story. But the opposite can also happen. Right. So again, what can you do to be ready? What do you think you can do? What can you do to be ready? Okay. You can start practicing other parts of the test. Okay. So let's just think about it. I don't know how to talk about technology, but I know how to talk about education. So you go, okay, so if the topic is education, I'm very confident. If the topic is technology, I'm not confident. That's not the right attitude. Your correct attitude for you to feel confident and not to be scared is, I know about education. If the topic is education, I will be very good. But then if I get a topic such as technology, it might be difficult. So what am I going to do? I'm going to practice. And then I will be able to improve and I will feel more confident and I won't be as scared. I won't have fear. Okay? This is the right attitude, guys. This is the correct attitude. Preparation it's like this. Okay? So your fear is here and your practice is here. When you start practicing, your fear starts going down. And the ideal scenario is fear here, and practice here. You will be amazed at how this scale is true. Most people who are scared, they are not practicing. They don't know the test. These are the people who are scared. Okay? Because if you go into the speaking test and you are sure that you have practiced, you are sure you know what the parts of the test are like, you are sure of the topics you might get, you're not going to be scared. You are not going to be scared. If, for example, you were my student, you will only go do the test if you're ready. And if I tell you're ready, you should believe me. But if you don't believe you're ready, you're not ready. Oops. You're not ready. Let's say you're working with me, you tell me you need a 6. And then we do a speaking test, and I'll say, wow, yeah, you are 6, maybe even 6.5 if you improve this and this. And you go, yeah, I'm going to do the test now. And then the day before the test, you go, I don't think Fabi's right. I don't think I'm ready. No, I don't think I can do it. No, no, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. Then what happens on the day of the test? You can do it, guys. You can do it. That's what I want to talk to you guys about today. Preparation increases your confidence. And when you are confident, your fear goes down. It's a fact. Okay, it is a fact. So I really want you guys to think about that. Really do, really do, really do. Okay, so there's a question here. In my case, I understand what I listen, but in the moment I have to talk with my teachers or classmates, I can't express myself as I would like to. Okay, so this is interesting because you said, I can't express myself as I would like to. The most important thing is you can express yourself. I can see your name properly. Nan Ver. The most important thing is that yes, you can express yourself, and that's great. That's a start because people can't even talk. So the fact that you can express yourself is a start. Now you have to think about why you can't express yourself in the way you would like to. Now you have to think about it. Is it because of grammar? Is it because of vocabulary? If it's because of vocabulary, you have to think about, oh my God, can you give me an example of a topic that maybe you felt like you could express yourself, or does it happen all the time? So let's say that she is a nurse and they're talking about technology and she can't express herself. Nancy. Hi, Nancy. Hi, Nancy. So yeah. So let's say that she's a nurse and they're talking about technology and she doesn't know much about technology. So you can't express yourself properly because you don't have the vocabulary. That's fine. That's completely fine because you just don't have the vocabulary. So what do? So you go, oh my God, today at school, they were talking about technology and I wasn't confident. I couldn't really answer the questions. I don't know much about technology. I don't know the vocabulary. You have two choices. You can go and say, okay, yep, I couldn't do it because I don't know how to speak about technology in English. Or you can go and say, all right, okay, yeah. So they were talking about technology. I could express myself properly. That means that my vocabulary for technology is not very good. And I'm gonna do the IELTS test soon, and technology might be a topic. I might try to learn some vocabulary, read a few things, and get more information. This is the right attitude. This is the right attitude, guys. Okay, Nancy. So if you want to tell me maybe one or two topics that you struggle with, or maybe just one thing that happened maybe in class that you couldn't really express yourself, that could be one thing. Or maybe they were talking about technology and they have one opinion about AI. They were saying how AI is terrible, and Nancy thinks that AI is very good. Maybe she was a little bit worried about sharing her opinion because people would disagree with her. That's another reason. That's another reason. Okay. But keep in mind, guys, keep in mind, during the IELTS test, they are not judging your opinion. They are judging your English. Just your English. That's it. If you get a question about AI saying, oh, do you think AI is going to be good or bad for the world? And you think it's going to be amazing? Go ahead. Okay, go ahead. All right? Just say it. If you think it's bad, it's okay too. It doesn't matter. The only thing the examiner is looking for is actually you being able to answer. You understand the question? Yes. Did you give an answer that answers the question? Yes. Is it coherent? Does it make sense? Yes, that's it. Doesn't matter if you say AI, artificial intelligence, would be the worst thing for the world, or it's going to be amazing. It doesn't matter what you say. So when it comes to your opinion, It doesn't matter what you say. The examiner will find. Just don't be racist, just don't be rude. Okay. If you're not rude, that's fine. That's completely fine. Okay. That's completely fine. All right. So that's something that we have to think about. All right. Okay. Yeah. So, so it's very important to know when and why you get a bit nervous. Very, very important to know when and why you get nervous. Okay, guys, very, very important to know because that will help you think about things you can do to improve. And if you're working with a teacher or something, just think about that and maybe let your teacher know, hey, I have this problem and that's why I have this problem. Okay, identify. Okay, and let me see. Okay, yeah. So now let's think about, I have my notes here, just following my notes. Um, something else that it's 100% with my students, 100%, 100%. It doesn't matter how many times I tell them they can do it. If they think they can't, they will not achieve the score they need. Okay, they will not achieve the score. So, one thing that you have to start thinking right now is, do you think you can? Do you think you can? All right, because if you can, you can. If you can't, you can't. Recently, I saw a video about that what's her name? Simone Biles. Simone Biles, yeah. Gymnastics. Yeah, so she got the golden medal, right? And again, she practiced for many, many years and then she performed. So when you think of her performance lasted what? 2-3 minutes? I'm not sure. And then what happened? She got the gold medal. But then people who are really interested in her behavior, her preparation, they managed to read her lips. So before she started, what she was going to do that was going to give her the gold medal, she talked to herself. Okay. And then she said, apparently, when they read her lips, she said, "You've got this," or "You've got it," something like that. "You've got it, you've got this." So in English, it means that it's similar to, "I can do it. I can do it." It's like she's saying to herself, "I can do it." And why do you think she was saying that to herself? She was saying that to herself because she had been practicing for years. Such a long time. Practice. And then when she went there and she decided to do the thing, she was just like, "Oh my God, why am I worried? I can do this. Yes, I can. Of course I can." And that's what I would like to tell you guys also. That's why I keep telling you, practice, because that's the most important thing. Like I said before, fear and practice. Fear, practice. When you start, your fear is here and your practice is here. When you start practicing, your fear goes down and you become more confident and your fear becomes confidence. That's it, because you know what you're doing. You do know what you're doing, guys. So that's the most important thing there. Okay, that is the most important thing. Okay, but then let's think about it. How do you really feel? Why are you having problems with your speaking? Why? My recommendation is always practice. Talk to anybody, anyone you can. Talk to yourself. We talked about that on Monday. Talk to yourself. That's it. That's a great start. Just start talking to yourself. Okay, just start talking to yourself. And that's great too. You can do that. Okay. And just think about, if you're making mistakes, what can you do with your mistakes? Just like I mentioned, if you didn't succeed, okay, you tried something, didn't succeed, analyze why. I do that with my students all the time. Okay, you got this wrong. Why? Why do you think you got this wrong? I don't know. Think about it, because that will help you improve. All right. And the most important thing, what are you telling yourself? Okay. You should be your best cheerleader. You should be your best cheerleader. I know we have days that we feel down, you know. We all do. We all do. You do something, you're very proud of it. But if you've been practicing, you know, like you should be quite confident that you can do it. 100%. 100%. And just like Nancy said, oh, you know, I talked about it, but it wasn't the way I wanted. But you are talking. You are talking. Find ways to improve, Nancy. You know, think about it. Why wasn't the way I wanted? Why? And then you try to improve. Okay, but it's good that you're talking. The problem is, oh, my speaking so bad. Are you practicing? No. Okay. Okay. That's it. All right. Goody goody. All right. Okay. Just a few more things I want to share with you. Shift your mindset. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, guys. So, yeah. So, just for Nancy, for example, let's say that today she didn't perform as well, but then tomorrow she's speaking and she does. That's good. It means she's improving. And again, guys, we're not our best every day. We have bad days too, but don't make that one bad day become what happens every day, or that make one bad day destroy everything you've done that's good. Okay, we're always here to improve. We're always here to improve. Okay, all right. Okay, do you have any questions, guys? I'm gonna go over the questions now. I saw there were some comments here. Any questions for me? Let me see. Okay, I talked about this one already. Okay, hi. I completed levels A1, A2 since C1. I can speak and communicate, but I still have the same problem. When I watch TV, I don't understand anything, and that frustrates me. What can I do? Okay, to improve. All right, so it's VH Duarte. That's the person's name here. All right, okay. So when you watch TV, my question is, what are you watching? That's my first question. Okay. Usually, sometimes we watch stuff. Okay, for example, my partner loves Elon Musk. So he's always watching stuff with those what's the name of the company? I forgot the name of the company. All the spaceship stuff. Okay. I watch it and I go, I don't understand much of it. And I start asking my partner, so what about this? What about this? Like, oh my God. He has to pause and explain it to me. So the question is, what are you watching? That's the first question I'd like to ask you. Second thing is, why don't you watch things you like that you know would be easy for you to understand? For example, you can start, sorry, you can start by watching a movie that you've seen in your language. You can start with that. Okay. And then maybe just think about it. So if you really want to do something about it, really, 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 play something, start watching something, and write down, is it a movie? Is it a TV series? Is it a documentary? Is it a podcast? What is the topic? How much can I understand? And when you start, just take some notes. And when you start doing that, you will see what is easy, what is difficult for you. And from there, you can move on. You go, oh, yeah, maybe I can't understand the news because it's world news. I don't really relate to that. But if it's local news, I understand more. Or I can understand the movie, but I can't understand the documentary. You know what I mean? So start thinking about that. Maybe you're just choosing the wrong stuff. All right, Duarte. Okay. Let me see another questions. I talked about Nancy. Okay. Yeah, I've already answered your question, Duarte. Let me know if that helped. What else? Larissa said, why don't you try to watch TV with English subtitles and get used to the accent? Yeah, that's something else you can do too. Yeah, just start with subtitles. And then maybe you can take out the subtitles. If you still don't understand, put back subtitles. Okay, guys, it's a process. Nothing happens overnight. That's why you have to start now. Okay, how to make self-assessment of my progress. How good am I doing? So, Nikki, it can be difficult to make your self-assessment. Very difficult. Okay. one thing you can always do is to record yourself and just sometimes how you feel about a topic. So maybe you are very good at talking to yourself. And then maybe one topic was a little bit hard, and then you try it again, it becomes a bit easier. So that's your self assessment. That's number one. You can talk to people and see how they respond. Okay. But the best way is to get someone, a professional, a teacher to listen to you. 100%. That's the best thing you can do. Okay. Doing alone, that's what I say, guys. I help you do things by yourselves. But when it comes to speaking and writing, you need guidance. 100% you need guidance. Okay. All right. Good. Any other questions? No, that was it. Any more questions for me? Any more questions about speaking? Feeling nervous about speaking? Guys, practice, 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 and think to yourself, I can do this. I'm practicing. I've got this. All right. So if you have any other questions, you can always send me a message later. All right. Okay, guys. So please, okay, don't be too scared of speaking. Okay. Don't be too scared. And remember, the IELTS test is just a step to your dreams. Remember, your big dreams. Your dreams are big. Okay. You are doing the IELTS test, you're learning English so you can achieve your dreams. So, this is part of the process. And just think about it. The more English you learn, the bigger your dreams will be, the easier your dreams will be. All right. Okay. I'll see you next Monday. All right, guys. Okay. Bye.